What's a sign that someone is secretly a bad person? Subtly put others down and play it off as jokes, or just are generally condescending. Also a lack of respect for workers and things like that. Gossiping about people that they hang out with, but hang out with them like they are best friends. They put others down and expect you to agree when they do, even talking about people they know you get along with. They are always the victim, and if they actually do admit to being the villain, they try to rationalize it instead of taking responsibility. The people who feel the need to tell you what kind of person they are. They say things like, "I'm such an honest person." People who think it's funny to exploit and use your fears/phobias against you. Actively disrespecting a clearly set boundary. When they brag about hurting animals. I had a roommate once who bragged about how a precious roommate has a ferret and she hated the thing, so she kicked it across the room. Literally. Like, WTF is wrong with you? Never takes accountability for their actions and mistakes. But so and so did this which lead me to do that, and if so and so didn't do that it wouldn't have happened, is their excuse for everything. Watch out for people like that, because the second something goes wrong they will find a way to pin it on you. I have trouble with the idea that every person can be bad, but there can still be people who are presenting their worst selves, if that makes any sense. For me, it is when people automatically coerce and manipulate, rather than simply request to have an outcome they want. I have found that in general, most people want to say yes to even the most oddball requests, and when they have to decline they express genuine sorrow about it, and even try to mitigate it somehow. But I can ask around to see if anyone else has. But I can watch your dog for one of those days if it helps. Another sign of someone being their worst self is this: if they've experienced a deep struggle or some deep challenge, and their attitude is, well, if I had to be baptized by fire, so does everyone else. And worse if they add to the struggle. The flip side of that is someone who goes through a struggle and says, that was a challenge and deeply unnecessary. I'm going to work to make sure that barrier is removed from anyone else wishing to walk my path. That's someone being their best self in that decision. Always playing the victim. Nothing is ever their fault. I have a personal qualm with calling people bad as a whole vs just being someone who makes bad decisions and choices. That said, to actually answer the question, someone who repeatedly pushes other people's boundaries, showing no respect for other people's limits. No empathy, no critical thinking. Parking in a handicapped spot because it's just for a few minutes. Butting in line. Subtly making digs at other people just to make themselves feel important. When their kindness only extends to certain people. My brother is a bad person. One of the more subtle nasty things he does is talk trash without talking trash. He'll go over to someone and tell them person A is saying this thing about person B, then he'll go over to someone else and say person C is talking trash about person A. All of it are lies. What happens in the end is person B confronts person A or person A confronts person C. If any of it comes back to him, he denies being involved and acts like the good guy. He's caused a lot of friendships to fall apart and even family members to stop talking to each other. He's 45 years old and I can't see what he has to gain from this behavior. I'm generally pretty quick to help people if I'm able. I think it's relatively accurate to judge how inherently good or bad a person is by how quick they are to offer their help. I don't mean the big ones like, sure it'll help you move, but the little things like holding a door for someone when their hands are full, picking something up that someone else dropped, taking plates to the sink at the end of dinner, and not just your own. When it's obvious that people have a sense of responsibility toward their fellow humans and live up to it, I know they are good people. When someone tall sees someone short struggling to reach something high and doesn't help them, when they let a door slam in someone's face, when they look at the thing you dropped and then look away, when they don't offer you something you have plenty of, those are a red flag to me that this person does not feel any sense of responsibility to be helpful to other humans. People who can't be happy for others. Like, If they hear someone achieved something or has good things going for them, they feel more jealous than anything. Their first instinct is to downplay it or criticize or make fun of something else about them. You get the sense that if someone bad happened to another person, they would secretly get some glee out of watching that person's downfall because it would make them feel good, and secretly wishing harm on good people because it would make you feel good makes you a bad person. They're rude to retail workers or wait staff. Anybody who insults or berates people who can't stand up for themselves is truly evil. They enjoy making other people feel bad. Of course, people who do this always have some justification for being so nasty. It doesn't matter how bad the service is, you never berate or insult people. Just put in a complaint that states the facts, and then take your business elsewhere. If they treat service people and animals badly, as far as I'm concerned, they're a bad person. The intonation of how they ask personal questions. After dealing with enough bad guys, I can say this: when someone is asking you a personal question out of pure curiosity, or if they wish to get to know you better, just for the sake of it, they will sound honest. For example, I could say I love writing, and they would ask me with genuineness, how is my work going? What am I writing? If they can read my work, etc. Maybe I'd say I love X and they'd start sharing something that they love, which has a connection to the thing I love. If they are bad, which I take as manipulative and exploitive, then the tone will be way off. They will ask you, and they will pay attention. They won't pay attention like kids listening to a story. They will pay attention like a tiger waiting for its prey. They will pay attention to everything. You can actually see, if you are perceptive enough, how they analyze your tone, the way you shift between topics, if you hesitate, or fill your speech with or like and well. If you tell them about something you love, they will ask blunt questions. You will see that they don't really care about your answer, all they want is information. On dates, I usually open up about how much I love dogs. If someone likes animals, they will continue talking, with some sort of happiness. What animals they have, what animals they dislike, these questions or sayings will come out on their own. If they don't like pets, they will note it. They may continue asking just to be polite, but they won't investigate further, except for maybe the question, could you live without a pet or something like that. If someone is bad, they will ask the questions without giving away information, and if they do, they say only opinions, and will regard them as facts. They don't like dogs. They will say all dogs are bad. Do they love cats? They will say that cats are the only option. They won't have any emotion in that statement except for you should agree. It will best to agree. They will ask you questions, but only they will ask. When you ask, they will give short unemotional answers. When every good thing they do is publicized excessively. They gaslight and or lie to you. When they don't like animals, selfish badmouth people all the time. I think the biggest thing is, if they lie for no reason. Stay away from narcissistic people. They are the worst. I mean serious narcissists. Everyone is narcissistic to a degree. My brother is one, and is cruel and spiteful. I donated a kidney to him, and he has bullied me, and even assaulted me physically. So I consider him to be a very bad person. I literally saved his life, so I'm like WTF. People who say this about themselves. I'm stubborn and hard-headed, but I have a heart of gold. No, you don't. You can't say that about yourself. It's weird, and it usually means you don't have a heart of gold. Someone that doesn't listen well or at all, it's a sign that they don't really pay attention or care about what you have to say. Something that I recognized recently, but when they try to guilt trip you by putting themselves down, I'm sorry, I guess I'm just a bad person. No one wants to talk to me because I'm annoying, etc. People who are quick to remind you of the things they did for you and make you feel guilty if you haven't been able to do the same things or equivalent. Everyone has different circumstances and can't always offer the same things. The way they treat you. If you sense something is off, just trust it, or at least stay guarded. Not everything is evil that seems evil, but the same applies. If things seem too good it could be bad. It's merely something you have to observe. When they say they will follow through on something for you and put it off, ignore the topic when asked about it. cancel plans knowing they never were going to follow through with those. Taking advantage of the kindness and goodness of someone and loving every minute of it. If they make fun of others or put them down while claiming to be a good person or a Christian. I had a coworker that constantly made fun of people on social media, Facebook, Twitter, etc. But would always say I'm a Christian woman or I didn't say it / it wasn't me who said this. It was always things like sneaking photos of people when they are dancing and captioning it with white boy needs to stop trying, or look at this dude thinking he can dance, or this thought thinking she is all that, and so on. Or could just be someone wearing an outfit that you can tell they're so proud of it. Or she'd post racist and demeaning memes that made fun of light-skinned girls or call them names like homewreckers or thirsty. But of course she'd add, "It wasn't me who said it. I'm just passing it on." It made me realize how toxic she really is, even if she has a friendly demeanor at work. It also explained why I never felt comfortable around her. Even though she'd tell others that we're the best of friends, she still reaches out now and then to check up on me, but I never say more than the customary "I'm fine thanks, hope you're doing well too." She was with the company for 15 years now, and I used to wonder why she was at the same level / job responsibilities I did at a newcomer with only 2 years with the company. As time went on, I began to see why. Now I immediately recognize the signs if I meet someone else like this, and I steer clear. I don't know, but my now ex literally just told me today that sending a sexual message to someone else isn't considered cheating, and then deflected by telling me that I'm probably doing the same thing behind his back. So when they keeping insisting on how good of a person they are. A lot of very bad people present as very charming, charismatic, almost too charming. Honestly, for me, my heart seems to alert me to this far better than my feeble brain does. Bad people just give me that bad feeling, you know? It's like a toothache in the soul or something. When they are utterly careless, they can play it off as forgetfulness, or being absent-minded, or whatever, but eventually, it just becomes clear that they just cannot care about anything. I'm a nice person, but, and then proceeds to say something unnecessary and unkind. People who only do good things out in public, where others can see them being good, but are a completely different person behind closed doors. Listen to the way they talk about other people to you, especially people that they treat like friends, when they see them. That's a good indicator of how they'll talk about you, behind your back. I think a big tip off is when someone talks really terribly behind someone's back, and then 2 days later they're acting like friends with the person, smiling, joking, pulling aside to have some kind of deep conversation, even though 2 days earlier they were telling you how much of a trash human being that person was. That's one that rubs me the wrong way instantly, unless if it's just exchanging pleasantries or being polite. I don't know if that points to that individual being bad or just plain immature, but that was a friendship that did not end well, lol. I read this somewhere: beware of the people who always want to know what you're doing, but never encourage or support you. I hate when someone does something bad, gets called out on that thing, and then gets pissed at you and acts like you're the crazy one for calling them out. When they constantly flake on plans with little to no warning, it shows blatant disrespect for other people's time and feelings, and in my experience, it's usually a result of selfishness. Someone like this will try to optimize their own experience by making lots of plans, then picking which they want to follow through on based on their mood, with no regard for the people they've let down. When the world revolves around you, the only thing that matters is whether you are having fun. The world outside your immediate experience simply doesn't exist, and therefore doesn't matter. Someone who consistently cuts you off to talk about themselves / one-up you when you try to talk about yourself or are excited about something. Whenever anyone breaches confidentiality and tells you information about people that you're not supposed to know and are supposed to be secrets, you can always tell if someone is a good person when things aren't going so good for them. They don't respect your family and or property. They think they are a good person and never hesitate to put the blame on you. They can't own up to their mistakes. How they treat people who can do nothing for them. They're rude to customer service workers. Well, it really depends on what you consider a bad person. I think there are traits that people exhibit that are very complicated to deal with in the long term, that could bring conflict, even if a person is not necessarily bad. I can think of some like being overly judgmental about others, and when asked about what are the justification for those judgments, the person deflects instead of engaging in conversation. Being someone who is very focused on what others think and fulfilling expectations other people have, being in a constant struggle to fit into the point they would or have betrayed others. Being overly secretive and never really wanting to engage in hard open heart conversations. Having bad friends. Always beware of the people someone mingles with. It actually says a lot about them as a person, because they will overlook bad things others do. Feeling comfortable justifying other people's bad actions. Showing signs of means to an end mentality. Projecting their insecurities onto others by focusing too much on things that are clearly none of their business. Talking too much about yourself and being excessively self-referent. These are all things that constitute parts of being a bad person. Then again, we are all products of our environment, and most people are not even aware they do these things. When they only do kind things when other people are watching, they gossip about people they claim are their friends. They try to get you to talk badly about other people. When you call them out on their behavior, they either get irrationally angry or make themselves out to be the victim. If they are highly reactive to their own emotions, but do not react to yours. Your otherwise friendly dog, cat, or child avoids or outright dislikes them. People who are very performative with their affection gives me some real red flags from first-hand experience with ex-friends, and also having been that asshole once upon a time, before maturing and seeking mental help. Being unable to give a gift or even just telling someone you appreciate their friendship without an audience is awful. If you find people around you need witnesses to back up and verify their simple kindnesses, reevaluate if you want them in your life. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you liked this video.